Hey, what's up? Picking up the action. Currently in Duskwood right now, and I just started a quest chain that's going to ultimately lead to me getting a pretty good item for my head, which is currently not got any armor on it, and it's very difficult to find an armor piece below level 25 for your head, and so this is, I think, one of the best ones in the game. It's a fairly long quest chain, and I picked up the first quest from Sven Jorgen here, and he had me go down the map to the Jorgen farmstead, and I discovered buried beneath his farmhouse a book, and then I picked that up, and I've been tasked to bring it back to him. The contents of the book say that the terror of the past few weeks is almost more than I can bear, yet I feel that by writing down that which I've seen, I will somehow be comforted. So I do it, and this is the only comfort I have in these bleak days. It began with the finding of that cursed scythe in Roland's Doom. Before the scythe, the terrors of this place seemed as tame as Northshire Valley, but ever since I found the haft of the scythe jutting from that pile of rubble in the mine, and curse me pulled it free, Roland's Doom became a place of vile death. After the scythe was freed, they came at us from everywhere, clawing from the hidden holes at our feet and dropping upon us from silent perches above. Half our men fell in those first panicked minutes. The rest, including myself, tried to flee. As I ran, I saw so many of my brothers taken by tooth and claw, heard so many screams cut short or gurgle to silence. I can only guess why I survived that night. I have always been cautious, always quick to flinch from jabs and leap free of pitfalls. My nickname comes from this trait, so perhaps it was just that knack for caution that has saved me. Or maybe it was the scythe I pulled from the rubble. It cannot be the scythe itself, for I lost it during my frantic flight. But if it was I who brought the worgen to Duskwood, then perhaps the worgen afforded me a rare courtesy. Curse them. After surviving the flight from Roland's Doom, I hid within a barn owned by a man named Sven. I spent a few days in the barn, and such horror lingered with me that I never once made myself known to Sven or his family. But from what I saw from my hiding place, I knew these farmers were quite decent folk. Had I stepped from my concealment, I think they would have taken me in. But trust is hard for me, harder still after the shock in the mine. So I remained hidden. The rest of this book is blank. Interesting.
King's honor, friend. Be careful.
Sven reads the book pages, then slams it shut. That shadowy figure I saw was witness to my family's death. There are questions I would like to ask that man, if only I knew who he was.
Light bless you.
The shadowy figure. I must know who was the skulker in the shadows I saw the night my family was killed. Please, casual hero. You have shown your resourcefulness. Please find the shadowy figure. I must learn what secret he holds. I do not have clues that you do not already know, but here, take the book you found at my farm. Perhaps some of the townsfolk can link the book to its owner. He wants me to take the found book back to Darkshire. Darkshire is all the way over here. So naturally, I'm going to have to run across the whole zone. Fortunately, right now I have a buff called Boon of Black Fathom, which gives me a 20% movement increase. So the running speed's just a little bit faster. You may also notice on my map I have all these icons. That's because I downloaded an add-on called Questy, which is a pretty common tool that helps you identify quests available, where quest drops come from, which monsters drop those things, etc., etc. When I leveled up for this first character on Casual Hero for Season of Discovery, I did so without any add-ons at all. I wanted a kind of authentic and like as designed experience. But now that I'm level 25 and I completed the questing, in the interest of time and my sanity, I figured it would be best just to use the tool. And any additional characters that I create from here on out, having done the 1 to 25, I will use Questy as a tool to assist the leveling process. I may rely on it less if I was to do a quest in a new zone, perhaps starting like an undead character, an orc, or a night elf, where you quest somewhere different than Elwyn Forest. But especially if I make another human character, then I would use Questy, and that's almost solely for efficiency's sake. So I also downloaded this damage bar. I see everyone has it when they go do raids and dungeons, and it's how you determine how much damage you're doing when compared to other people in your group. So I thought that'd be kind of an interesting thing to see how my damage is stacking up as I gain a little bit of gear and experience. Off camera, I was able to acquire a very good chest piece, the Shining Silver Breastplate, which has 14 strength, 6 stamina. Oh, we got a guy here. I'll just let him go by. Beetlebops. That was a horde character. It's because I have this buff, I don't really want to lose it. And if I die, I lose it. And I don't really feel like killing a guy right now he's pretty far out of his way and I'm out of my way. So there's no point in needlessly inconveniencing each other. That being said, I got this chest piece made. It was crafted. I collected up the materials necessary, bought a few from the auction house, and had somebody in my guild make it. And that I think is about the best chest piece I can get for the time. Oh, I heard a rogue. Use perception, which allows me to detect rogues. Let me give that guy some light. Someone reported that there's rogues north of Ravenhill Cemetery. So up here. But we're not near there yet, so... but anyway, now my goal, and I also completed a quest chain that allowed me to get this Seal of Wyrn. I don't know how you say it. But anyway, a very good ring. That was a very long quest chain. I ran a dungeon called the Stockades in Stormwind City, which is like a prison. And then followed a quest chain after that, which had me run back and forth all over the city like 5 separate times before I got the ring. So that was a pretty cool achievement off camera that I was able to do. So the name of the game as I've hit max level is to improve the quality of the gear that I have. So areas I've gotten an improved belt, the chest piece I talked about, this ring, slightly better bracers. My boots could use some work. My gloves could definitely use some work. My back piece is woeful. Shoulders are not very good. The weapon's excellent. So a helm, some improved shoulders, an improved back piece, improved gloves, an improved boot, some trinkets. That's kind of what I'm looking to get now. So every piece of gear makes your performance a little bit better and makes that doing missions a little bit easier, quests a little bit easier, and then also it makes you more competitive in PvP. So, which is something that I'm looking forward to getting into. And one of the reasons for that is that it's fun. Excuse me. It's a little late here. I'm playing later than I should because I'm on leave and have some days off. But the PvP is a fun aspect of this game that I've always enjoyed. And then there's some rewards that you can get from the PvP groups that you have to earn by gaining reputation with them. It says I have a quest to turn in. Maybe it's downstairs. But you got to kill people and do some... Oh, there. That's the person I was supposed to see. The chef. Oh, yeah, that's another quest. Okay. Let me do this. Get a little kiss, and then I get a little extra mistletoe that I can cast on people. And here's the person I need to talk to, Madame Eva.
You need something?
That's a cool looking dress. The shadowy figure. If you have something that belongs to the shadowy figure for whom you seek, then let me see it. I may be able to divine something of its owner.
Farewell.
Someone handed this book recently, but someone who is driven by revenge. But the impression left on it, at least the impressions from the original owner, are faint. I can tell, however, that the original owner of this book is not a native of Darkshire.
Safe travel.
Here's your book back, casual hero, and I bid you fortune in your search. If you ask others in town, perhaps they can offer you more clues. And here is one more for you. Although the author of this book is a stranger to Darkshire, the book itself was purchased here. See if other townsfolk have clues about the shadowy figure.
Go with honor.
Alright, so now we're going to find, I assume, somebody that sells books, maybe, or like a librarian? Let's see what the clerk here has to say.
Hello.
The shadowy search continues. Sometimes I'll sell blank books to scholars and mages, or to anyone who wants to keep a journal. I remember well everyone to whom I've sold a book within these last few months. Ah, yes. I sold this book a month ago to a shady person. He didn't tell me his name, but he was nervous, jittery chap, always looking over his shoulder. I hope that helps you. You will receive 12 silver. That's interesting that he says jittery, because I got a quest from a guy named Jitters, and I have to return something to him, so... Might want to expand your search to the inn. If the person whom you seek spent time in the town, the chances are someone saw him there. Search the inn for clues about this shadowy figure. So, Jitters is all the way over here in Ravenhill. And in fact, I have a quest to get some crab cakes so that I can take him to Jitters because he's hungry. So, now let's see what's up here. Tavern Keep Smiths. The Scarlet Raven doesn't see business it used to, but we still get travelers passing through. If you can describe the person you're looking for, maybe I'll remember him, he says. Oh yes, I remember this book. Its owner rented a room for a few days. It spent his night at the bar, writing. He left town in a hurry, muttering about being hunted by something. Last I saw him, he was heading west out of town, looking for a new spot to hide. The first place he'd find is west. The first place he'd find to the west is Ravenhill. Good luck, casual hero. I hope you find the chap, and I hope you find him alive. If he's left the safety of Darkshire, he could prey on the beasts of the wilds. Find the shadowy figures. Your clues. He's not native to Darkshire. He's a nervous, jittery person, and he left Darkshire and headed west. Okay, I think it's Jitters, which is a fairly obvious clue, but we'll head back that way. Which is now back. Okay, of course, yeah. The quest tells me this, and so this is kind of the downside of Questy. If you're trying to do something efficiently, obviously it's great because it's telling you where to go and what to do, but if you're trying to experience the game kind of in its designed intent with the quest developing naturally, and let's say you're brand new to this game and you'd not been in this zone before, you would have all of this to search through to do the quest, and so maybe you would be running into that house and then going over behind these hills to this farmstead looking for some mysterious jittery figure. And you would kind of naturally discover the game and naturally discover the zone that way and kind of have this authentic experience. With a tool like Questy, what I gain in efficiency, I kind of lose in that authenticity. But that being said, I have quested in this zone before. I did discover it naturally at one point. And it's been so long that I've kind of forgotten a lot of the quests and things in it. And so there's still an opportunity for me to kind of have some of that experience. But we'll read through all the quests and make sure that we kind of give them the due consideration that they merit in the time that was spent to create them. But for now, we'll just make this run back and take advantage of the boon of the Black Fathom for as long as we have it. And you can see a hunter in front of us has aspect of the cheetah, which gives them a 30% movement speed, which is a huge buff, and really cool that they have that. But if they do get hit while they're doing it, they get dazed. So like that wolf might hit him. Oh, he's going to use his pet to hold the wolf at bay. So, yeah. Stranglethorn Vale. That way. That's a next questing zone in the 30s and 40s. It's a very famous zone. It's huge. It's this whole thing. But, at any rate, we will find Jitters here. We actually have other quests to turn into him, but I really want to run this specific quest chain through to its completion. I think I might need help on the tail end of it. I'm assuming so, because I've heard that the final kind of encounters are a little bit difficult, or at least I remember them being difficult. But we shall see. Excuse me. And then something else I was able to make progress on off camera was completion of some steps towards Divine Storm, which is kind of the high-end rune for paladins that allows me to have an AoE attack. I've completed kind of the first 2/3 of it, and the final third I have to go back to Ashen Vale on the eastern side, which is something that I did the other day with my friends. I helped them, but I did not complete the quest at that time because I hadn't made it to that step. So I'm gonna go recreate what they did, which was to kill these fell guards and then break this orb apart, and then it'll give me the ability to do the rune. So, all right, we see jitters. Let's look at this guy. Does he look like a local? No, I didn't see anyone else wearing green and yellow.
Hey there.
Who are you? Leave me be, he says.
Safe travel.
Sighs. Yes, I'm the author of that book. You finally found me, eh? Well, if you've read that journal, then you only know the half of it.
Have a good one.
The book you found was only half finished. I had to leave it at Sven's farm when I fled there. Here, take my completed journal to Sven. It describes more fully what happened at his farm. Although this journal has been my only company these past weeks, giving it up keeps me from having to face Sven and his wrath. Then I will do it willingly. Return to Sven with Jitter's completed journal.
See you around.
I still will bring you some snacks, I promise. Let's see. We've got some briar thorn over here. We'll go grab really quick. See if we can find it. One thing I've noticed about this zone is it doesn't have nearly as many plants as the other ones. Oh, look at this, by the way. There's little eyes hiding in the bushes. Isn't that funny? That's so cool. Okay, I love that. Yeah, this zone has just always been a ton of fun to me. Haunted, lots of Halloween and spider motifs. There's this giant graveyard here with tons of ghouls, goblins, and skeletons. And then you add in this rain, and it kind of muffles the sound, and just the dark, kind of shadowy nature of the forest is great. All right, now there were some Horde players over here earlier, so they could be back, but Sven is up here in the top left corner near the coastline in a camp. So that's who I'm heading to. You can see the triangle on my top right. That's the quest turn-in. So I'll keep an eye out for the Horde players, but hopefully I can make it through without an issue. Oh, we should probably read the book that was given to us, eh? Okay, so we were able to... Page 6 was blank and beyond, so I can only guess why I survived that night. I've always been cautious. Okay, curse them. We've read that. Perhaps I am doomed to witness the changes I wrought on Duskwood. Perhaps it is my fate to watch as the Worgen tear into this land, staining it ever darker with their foulness. If that truly is my fate, then it is twofold. For the Worgen are not the only power to clutch at Duskwood. The fiends from Deadwind Past have also staked claim. That's the next chapter of my tale, and I pray it is the last. After surviving the flight from Roland's Doom, I hid within a barn owned by a man named Sven. I spent a few days in the barn, and such horror lingered within me that I never once made myself known to Sven or his family. From what I saw from my hiding place, I knew these farmers were quite decent folk. Had I stepped from my concealment, I think they would have taken me in, but trust is hard for me, harder still after the shock in the mine. So I remained hidden, and it saved my life. A few days after I arrived at the barn, Sven left his farm for Darkshire. He kissed his wife and smiled to his children and promised to return soon, with toys and sweets. The poor man. That was the last time he saw his family, unmutilated. At least they parted happily, and at least his wife was the first to die, and was freed from seeing the slaughter of her children. But these small graces do nothing for me. I saw what happened, and it will ever haunt my dreams. My hands tremble as I recall the details of that night, when Sven was away and his family was doomed to face the Black Riders alone. Again, regret clawed at me, for I was there and I could have risen against those fiends from the Deadwind Pass, but it's a false regret. It's the same that plagues any survivor of a tragedy. I know that, had I left my place of hiding, I too would have been killed, my body ripped and torn, and its pieces spread so widely that I would not be recognized. But even though I know I could have done nothing to stop these heinous murders, one true regret does remain. I brought the Black Riders to Sven's farm. My discovery of the scythe not only unleashed the Worgen upon Duskwood, it drew the riders from Deadwind Pass. I know this because just before they began their slaughter, they asked one question to Sven's wife, as she held her children close, giving them what comfort she could, as she thought was certain death was near. "The scythe of a loon," one of the riders shrieked in a voice both harsh and shrill, like a grinding of an axe on stone, and the last word, "Elune," it croaked, as if choking on the sound. Dread gripped me when I heard that voice, both from the horrid sound of it and because I knew the scythe of which the rider spoke. It must be the same cursed thing I drew from the rocks in Roland's Doom days before. It was the Black Riders. It's what the Black Riders sought, and it was what would kill Sven's family. I never learned the name of Sven's wife, as she was only ever called Dearest and My Love and Mommy by her husband and children, but I wish I knew it. I'm the only living memory of her deed that day. Although she was just a farmer's wife, never have I seen a man or woman act with such bravery. Of course she did not know of the scythe, but when she learned the riders sought it, in an instant a plan formed in her head, and it was bold and clever, if only it had worked. "The scythe," she said in a calm voice. "Of course I do. Who here wouldn't?" She looked at the riders with steady eyes, and I would have sworn she spoke the truth if I had not known better. There was no way she could know about the scythe. Her gambit paid off. The same rider who uttered the question before bent his head slightly towards her and shrieked, "Where?" "I'll take you, all of you," she said, and I could see a small hope flicker behind her eyes. "But the way was far, and my children would slow us. We must leave them." Her trick was simple, but simple tricks have the best hope of success. If it worked, it would lead the riders away from the farm. She would be lost, but her children would be safe, and it would work. If only the riders believed her noble lies. Although I've never been a student of the light, I prayed fiercely for Sven's wife as she stood against those terrible riders. "Please," I prayed, "let them believe." They stood, frozen, and she met their gazes with calm. Then one rider looked up, as if hearing a distant call. He drew from his garb a small gem and peered into it, then gestured with the bauble towards Sven's wife. A light crept from the rider towards the woman, shaping itself into a grim white hand. She stared into the light, unflinching, but I could see uncertainty behind her mask of confidence. When the hand reached her, it spread its fingers over her head, and it squeezed. Sven's wife stood rigid as a board, and her eyes grew wide, and although her lips pulled back to mouth a scream, no sound escaped. After a few moments of this torture, the hand released her, dropping her to her knees. The rider who held the bauble then sat erect in his saddle, and a loud voice erupted from it. "This woman lies," it said in a voice that has scarred my dreams. "She has not seen the scythe." After this, the rider's shoulders stooped slightly, as if a spirit within him had fled. And then the old, shrieking voice that was used earlier, these final words were uttered. "The Lord has spoken. Kill them." I cannot describe what happened next. It is clear in my mind, but even my wretched soul cannot put to paper the events of those next few grisly minutes. I can only write that Sven's family was killed, and soon after, Sven returned to this grim, deathly scene. Such grief was in him that I was afraid to show myself, and so afraid that he would find me, I fled from the hiding spot in the barn. I do not know where Sven is now, but I pray he will, someday, find peace. I spent the next few weeks moving from place to place, never lingering for fear of the riders. I'm now in the abandoned town of Ravenhill, as always hiding. I cannot face whatever power they used against Sven's wife, and I know it searches Duskwood even still for the scythe. It is lost to me, and I thank the light for this, for had I kept it, I know I would have been found. Even now I know in my heart that I will be found. I'm so tired. Damn, that was pretty sad.
Well met. For the Alliance.
This journal explains much more to me and sets me on a path against the Dark Riders. I have seen these riders in Duskwood, and I have seen them speak with a wizard, Morbent Fell, at the Forlorn Row.
Light bless you.
Morbent Fell is a necromancer and an ally to the Dark Riders. I would pit you against the powers of Morbent Fell, but I will not send you against that vile fiend without first knowing your strength. You have already proven your bravery to me, but if you truly wish to face the necromancer, then you must now prove your skill against his minions. Kill 15 skeletal raiders, 3 skeletal healers, and 3 skeletal warders, and then return to Sven.
For the Alliance.
All right. That is over here in the graveyard. I think what I'll do is pause the video here, and then the next one we'll pick it up. I'm going to go take a little bit of a break and get some water. And when we return in the next episode, we will start to prove our worth to Sven and hopefully bring some conclusion for his family and kill this Morbent Fell guy, or at least beat him up real good like. But I think we will do a little bit of righteous might and crush his ass. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one as we continue the story of Duskwood with the proving our worth.